I wasn't in the back of the hotel and had sorry Wi-Fi. But anyway, let me hit slideshow. I hope this works. Now, the other day we talked about living with the odds, and we talked about what to do, as far as odds against. Well, now we're going to be talking about combining probabilities. Talking about combining probabilities, we're talking about the additive rule and the multiplicative rule. You need to write that down. Additive, just say adding rule, and multiplying rule. The questions on your test and standardized test that basically revolve around multiplying and adding. Let me go ahead and switch over to the document cam to show you something right quick. And I do this, so just get used to it. Can y'all see, I need y'all to speak when I ask y'all this, can y'all see my white paper?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is where the lag is going to happen, because this is, this isn't posters. It's actual technology. And the technology here at this hotel is probably not the best. But anyway, so far with probability, you've learned several things. One, you've learned how to do regular basic probability. Okay, and this pen is running out. Basic probability, what is that? That's the finding the probability of a king. Ooh, I like that one. Finding the probability of a 6 on a die. Finding the probability of a coin. Okay, and then there was the roulette table. Finding the probability of a 0 or a double 0. Okay, we did all that probability. We also talked about the complement. Okay, the complement is usually written with a bar over the top. So if the probability of a king is success, the probability of not a king is failure. And I write it like this. X through the king, but you can see sometimes that messes up. Is there a lot of lag?
Yes.
Okay, well, hopefully y'all can just ignore the lag and listen to my words mostly. Okay, and then of course we learned about odds against. A minute, please. I don't know what's somebody's knocking at the door.
Housekeeping.
Dang old people asking if they need service. I need service in here. Oh, sorry about that. That was the janitorial people asking if I need towels or stuff. I don't know why they go by at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, against, and what's the reciprocal of odds against?
Odds in favor.
Odds in favor. So we've learned all that. That was basically the first section. Okay, now we're going to learn, in the second section, we're going to learn the multiplicative law and the additive law. Okay? Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
All right, the multiplicative law is when you multiply probabilities. I guess y'all kind of figured that out, okay? The additive law is when you add probabilities. The multiplicative law revolves around the word and. The additive law revolves around the word or. Now, I'm going to take my handy-dandy highlighter, and I'm going to highlight these in green because you need to make sure you do that in your notes, because that is very, very, very important. I'm going to tell you to use the multiplicative law or the additive law. What they're going to do is they're going to say, what is the probability of picking a king and a queen? What is the probability of picking a king or a queen? And you're going to have to read the question. Remember, I told y'all at the beginning of this section, I told y'all that two things get in your way. Not the math, but what? Reading and knowledge. Reading the question and knowledge of what they're asking. And remember me telling you about learning how to count the cards? You know, you need to count all the cards. You need to know how much is in a deck of cards. You need to know how many kings. You need to know how many suits. You need to know how many queens, how many, you need to know that stuff, okay? You need to know how many sides are a coin. Hopefully everybody knows that. You need to know what is the probability of a girl or a boy. That's 0.5. You need to have that knowledge. And then, of course, you got to read the question, and reading the question is where this comes into play. So on a test, you've got to decide the difference between the basic probability question, which is right here, and then these. And that is defined by those two words. So when we go over questions, or you send a question to me in this section, the first thing I'm going to do is say, okay, what's the word? And then y'all going to look at it and go, what do you mean, what's the word? Is it an and or is it an or? And usually this word is going to be found in the last sentence where it says, find the probability of blank or blank. Find the probability of blank and blank. It's going to say usually in the last sentence. Now, take my red marker, and you know I don't like to use reds. That means you need to highlight this in red or pink. Okay, with the multiplicative law, there's only two things that you need to be aware of. The two things that you need to be aware of is, of course, the word and you have to decide whether it is with replacement or without replacement. Now, with replacement means that, I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say that you have a bag of marbles, okay? And I tell Miss Riddle to reach into the bag and pull out a marble. And let's say there's 10 marbles in the bag, or ping pong balls, or names on a ball, or whatever. She just reaches in the bag and she pulls out one item. And then I tell her to put the item back in the bag. Write it down and put the item back in the bag. That is called with replacement. Why is that important? Because what if she does without replacement and puts the marble or the ball or the whatever in her pocket? What does that do to the statistics of the remaining items?
It'll change it.
It'll change it. So without replacement means change. Now I ain't got much room, so I'm going to put delta there, meaning change. It changes. And that means that it's dependent. So if without replacement means change, then with replacement means what? I'm going to put a change there, and what am I going to put through it? An X or a line on top of it, meaning it does not change, which means it is independent.
Change slash.
Okay? So you need to write the word and. When you see the word and in a test question, first thing you need to ask yourself, is it with replacement or without replacement? Now, can you vote twice? No. Can
No.
you die twice? No. So usually when you're talking about bodies or voting, usually that's assumed without replacement, because you cannot go back and say, okay, I voted for this person, but I'm gonna go back and vote for another person. Can you do that? No. So when you're talking about a vote, or you're talking about like how many people died last summer, blah 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 blah, and what is the probability? You know it's not going to be with replacement, because you can't die and then come back to life and die again. Okay, now there is, okay, granted there is people that die like 3 minutes and come back to life, but most of the questions that we are talking about in the book or the homework or test are not based on the outlying people that have been dead for 3 minutes and come back to life. Okay, so let's just throw that out. Okay, most of the people we're talking about are dead and in the ground, and you don't come back. You know, that kind of thing. So, what about with and? I mean with or. With or, you have to remember, of course, the word or, and then you have to remember one thing about or. Always subtract the overlap. Always subtract the overlap. Now, a lot of this is going to make sense when I go over a question, because then you'll be able to tell. Okay? So, with that, I'm going to let y'all have a few seconds to finish that, writing that down, and then we'll go to an example, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. Okay, so everybody got always subtract the overlap? All right. Now, let's say you have a bag of marbles. And let's say that bag of marbles there's your bag of marbles. And let's say it has 5 blue marbles. This is my poster. Will y'all put on your evaluation that I used a poster? 6. Oh gosh, I used the wrong color. Let's see. I'm not an innovative teacher. 6 red marbles. Are y'all ready for this one? This is a pretty green. 7 green marbles. And we'll go with, because you can see it better, because you can't see yellow. Let's see, that's 13 and that's 18. 2 orange marbles. Okay, everybody got that? Yes, Hubert. No, Hubert. I have no idea what you're talking about, Hubert. Thank you for the interaction. You know, if y'all talk, I know that y'all are there, not leaving the classroom, okay? Okay. Miss Riddle, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. Oconee, you still there? Yeah, he's asleep. Miss Porter, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's say that I ask you to find the probability of picking a blue marble and a red marble. And I tell you that it's with replacement, or I say it's independent. Okay, remember, the book will probably use the word independent because it sounds more sophisticated. Okay, so what is the probability? Well, what is the probability of blue? 5 out of what? 20?
20.
So I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to go 5 out of 20 multiplied by, because we're using the word and, multiplied by, where's my black mark?
6 over 20.
Thank you. I'm trying to use, because since this is a poster, I'm trying to use the 6 over 20. And of course, that's going to be, if I divide by 2, that's going to be 0.25 plus 0.3 or something like that. Somebody give me that answer.
Over 20. 25. .075. Oh, do you want the fraction?
No, that's fine. Point what?
It was like .075.
Did everybody get that? Okay, thank you for the interaction.
Yes, sir.
Now, what if I said without replacement?
Without replacement, the 6 would change to a 19 because you took one without. You
The
took
20
one out.
would change to a 19. Yes. Good job. And you got to think about that. If I picked the first marble, and it doesn't have to be blue, but I'm saying if I pick a marble and put it in my pocket, the total is going to what? Change.
Change.
So that would be 5 out of 20 times 6 out of what?
19.
6 out of 19. And somebody give me that. What is 5 out of 20 times 6 out of 19?
It's like .07, and then I guess you would round it so it'd be 79.
0.079. That's good because I want you to see that there's a difference between the two.
Okay.
Because if you do without replacement, the probability is going to change because the total number of marbles in the bag changes. Now, when does it not matter? Put a note down here, and we'll do it in green because it's not entirely bad. So I'm not going to put it in red. So green doesn't matter after 3 digits slash 300. What in the heck does that mean? Well, let's say that we're talking about 300 marbles. Then it's not going to matter whether you use with replacement or without replacement. I'm going to show you on the next problem. Okay, so I'm going to write a problem, and this is a problem you could see on a standardized test. The problem says you are doing quality assurance for a company, and I'm just going to put quality assurance up here because it's somewhere in the question. It's going to say something about quality assurance, which is making sure your company is putting out a good what? Product. And you're going to go through and pick out, let's say that you work at a CD factory, okay, that makes compact disc. Of course, those are pretty much archaic now, but CD factory, and you are the quality assurance director, and you go through shipping, and every time there's a box of CDs, you pick out 5 CDs. And if those 5 CDs are all bad, you send that box back. Okay, if they're not all bad, then you let it go to Walmart or whatever and let them deal with the refunds. Okay? But if all of them are bad, then that means something is wrong. If all 5 are bad, that means something is wrong with the machine that does whatever. Okay? So you have to address that with the factory instead of the retailers. So you have a box of CDs, and let's say there is 3,400 and let's just say 3,400 CDs in that box, crate, whatever you want to call it. And by history, you know that 15% are usually bad. Okay, usually by history. In other words, your past records, that's going to be, all this is going to be given. Okay, all that's going to be given, and then you're going to be given this. Okay, you have 3,400 CDs in a box. What is the probability of picking 5 bad CDs? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all that's given. We haven't done any calculation. Here's the first calculation you want to do. 1, find good / bad CDs. All right? So, somebody take their calculator and multiply 3,400 times point what? 15.
It's 510 CDs.
Okay, 510 CDs are usually bad. Okay, and then what's 510 from 3,400?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. My bad.
3,400. I'm trying. What? I mean, you're good. Since
Oh, that means that you
510
just
from
subtract
3,400.
that by 3,400.
2,890.
I'm sorry, I heard
Yeah.
the last 2 letters. What?
2,890.
Okay, so that's the first thing you do. Now the second thing you do is set up 5 fractions. Now I'm going to do both ways because I want you to see, I want you to do with replacement and without replacement. We're going to do with replacement first, and I'm going to put 2, and I'm going to put independent out here because we're just saying with replacement. So with replacement, you do 510 over 3,400 times 510. Yeah, there's with replacement over 3,400. Now let me ask you a question. If you work at a company, are you going to take a bad CD or a CD that you picked and put it back in the box? No. Usually when you're working with quality assurance, it's usually without replacement. And I'll put that at the top. Usually quality assurance is without replacement because you're not going to put one that you picked back in because you got to go test it. All right, replacement, I didn't spell that right, but you know what I'm talking about, which means dependent. Most of the time when you're talking about a quality assurance type question and you're picking bad CDs or bad whatever, I know I've seen a homework question with aspirins, take for a headache. Okay, how many times did I write those? 5 times because it says what? You picked 5 what?
5
CDs. Now, what's another way I could rewrite this?
510 over 3,400 raised to the 3rd power.
Exactly. And that's when your exponent is going to match. And I'm going to write this in that green to the 5th power. And that's because it says 5 CDs. So if I say you pick 3 CDs, then this is going to be 3 times, and this is going to be to the 3rd power. So remember, your exponent, when you're talking about with replacement, when you're talking about independent, you just raise, instead of doing this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, instead of doing that tedious calculation, just do this. Raise it to the 5th power or the 3rd power or whatever they ask you. Okay? Now somebody do that for me, and I want you to take it to 4 or 5 digits. I want 4 or 5 decimal places. So somebody do that for me. Take 510. The way you would type this in a calculator is you would do parentheses 510 divided by 3,400 close parentheses, and you would type the caret symbol and 5. And somebody give me 4 digits.
0.0000.
0.000. Okay, that's
Zero.
good enough for government work. Okay, now what if I did it with dependent? So I'm going to put dependent over here, number 3, dependent. So that means I'm going to do 510 over 3,400 times, well, if I put that one on this table over here that I just picked, then what's the next one going to be? 509 times what? 33.99. And the next one would be 508 over 33.98. And then the next one would be 507 over 33.97. And then the last one would be 506 over 33.96. Now, somebody calculate all that. It's going to take you a minute. But calculate all of those numbers and give me 4 digits. Or 4 decimal places. Y'all speak whenever you get it. Easily, did anybody come in the room and take a picture?
I didn't see anybody.
Okay.
Good God Almighty.
I'm waiting on y'all, so whoever gets it, spit it out.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Did y'all hear about the actor that said that he got beat up by a bunch of Trump supporters? Have y'all seen that it was nothing but a hoax?
Yeah.
He lied?
It's still 0.000.
Exactly. I wish it had a different digit. So what's the 5th or 6th digit?
The 5th digit is 0.7.
So
It's
0.00007?
Yes.
Is that correct?
And the top one, the first one was 0.0008.
Okay. Usually, they're going to ask you to round 4 digits on these, or 3. Is there a difference between the two?
Not really.
No. So, when you get over 300 or 3 digits, the reason I say 300/3 digits is because 107 is 3 digits, but that's not over 300. So, as a general rule, I tell students 3 digits/300. If it's over 300, which all of these up here are over 300, then chances are it's not going to matter whether you use with or without replacement. Okay? Now, we're going to go over some more questions Monday, of course. I'm just covering this, 1, to have a class, and 2, so we don't lose class because I'm at a talk, okay? So, let's go over addition right quick. I'm checking the time before I don't want y'all to go into a coma. Okay, addition. Usually when you use the additive law, usually it's going to be in some form of a table. If it's not in the form of a table, you need to put it in the form of a table. All right. Now, for some of you nursing people, you know what I'm talking about here, but there's blood types. All right. And this is a good question to show. This is the way I do it in all my classes, because the blood type table, you can do like 8 or 9 questions out of just one problem. So that's why I use it. So you have RH negative and RH positive. And then you have O, A, B, and AB, right? Some of y'all nursing people,
Yeah.
I hope that's right.
You're right.
Okay? And usually the question is given with a table like that. And if you can make a table, it's best. And I'm just going to put some numbers here. 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5, 7, 2. Okay? Now, the first thing you do is you got to find a total. And that's pretty simple. What do? You add them all what?
Together.
You add them all up. That's how many people you've tested for blood type. Okay? So there's 10 right there. As long as you find 10, you can make it up. Okay, there's a 10. So and there's a 10 right here. 7 and 3. So that's 27, 30. I got 30. What'd y'all get?
30.
So 30 is basically our what? Our denominator, because that's our total. Okay, now the second thing you're going to do is they're going to ask you a question. They're going to say, find the probability of O or B. O or B. In other words, if you put all these people's names, these two, you put their name, John Smith and Harry Jones, and then you put these 3 people's names in a hat, and you put their blood type right beside their name, and you put all their names in a hat. What is the probability of picking one person with O type or one person with a B type? That's what they're asking.
It'll be
So
8
then
over
you
30.
do everything over 30. And you're going to take this is where the highlighters come in. And for somebody that's never seen this before, use the highlighters. I realize some of you invented it, and I realize some of you have seen it before. That's two different people. And then there's people that's never seen this before. I'm talking to the people that's never seen it. I'm going to use a green highlighter and a yellow highlighter. Okay? You use whatever you want. And I'm going to highlight my O. I'm going to highlight my O right there. And I'm going to highlight and I'll color that color. And then I'm going to highlight my B. Is there an overlap of the green and the yellow? Yes or no?
No.
No.
So you don't have to subtract anything. You just take, and I'm going to write this in yellow, and I understand somebody's going to bitch about it, but I can't, I want to color coordinate this innovative teaching, dang old poster. All right, 2 plus 3. I'm going to put that in parentheses. And then I'm going to put in green plus 6 plus 7. And then I'm going to minus in red 0, because that red represents the what? The overlap. There is no overlap, so I don't have to what? I don't have to include it. Everybody with me?
Yes, sir.
So that's
Yes,
going
sir.
to be equal to, and I'm going to go ahead and use my yellow again. 2 plus 3 is 5. Plus, I do so much for y'all. Plus 6 plus 7 is 13. And all of that, I don't have to subtract an overlap, over 30. And somebody take 18 over 30 and tell me rate the 4 digits. Give me 4 digits. $18 over 30. Shouldn't take too long.
It's just 0.6.
0.6 even.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. So you've got a 0.6 probability. Now, what is the alternative? The alternative to this, I'm going to have to draw another table because I don't want to put too many colors on one table. So I'm going to slide this over, and I'm going to draw another table. RH negative, RH positive, A, O, A, B. Same table, so you don't have to draw it over. 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 2. Okay, now I want you to do the probability of O or A or RH positive. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter and I'm going to highlight my A, yellow. A is right there. And I'm going to highlight my RH positive, green. And I'm going to put my denominator on the bottom. And I'm going to take my yellow pen and 4 plus 5 in parentheses plus, and then my green is 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 2. And then I'm going to subtract my overlap. What is my overlap?
5.
5. Now, I have several degrees. I have running water in my house, and I have most of the teeth in my head. So I do realize that you can sit there and go, well, why don't you just cancel? Remember, I'm not here to teach the people that know how to do it. I'm here to teach the people that never have done it. Okay? Because I always get somebody when I do this, before I started making this speech, I always got somebody to say, why don't you just cancel? That's why you're the student and I'm the teacher. Okay? So that's why I don't teach the canceling thing, because some people don't see it. But when you show it like this, you see it better. Okay? So that's why I do it like this. And I'm the teacher. So equals 9 plus, I'm an innovative teacher too because I use posters, plus, okay, 7 plus 3 is 10, that's 17, somebody check my math,
Yes, 17.
minus 5, and all that over 30. Well, 9 plus 17 is 20 what?
6.
26 minus 5 is 21.
Yep.
And 21 over 30, that's dang old 7 over 10, which is equal to 0.7. Somebody check my math.
You're right.
And that's how you do the additive law. Now remember, there's two types of additive problems. There is one that does not have an overlap, and then there is one that does have an overlap. And all you have to remember is always subtract the overlap. You don't have to worry about with replacement or without replacement. And it's usually best to set up a table. Okay? Now I do realize, somebody tell me what time class is over because I have like
10.
7 minutes till. What?
It's over at 10.
It's over at 10, I thought. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go over one little thing right quick before we stop. And that is, sometimes you're going to be given a question like, I'll show you. You're going to be given a question that's going to say, a survey says 18 to 23-year-olds responded to a survey, 50 responded to a survey, and in the same survey, 24 to, I'm just going to make up a number, 30, 29-year-olds responded 75. And then they're going to say, same survey, 18 to 23-year-olds, RESP did not respond is 100, and 24 to 29-year-olds did not respond was 200. Okay, they might give you, and this is just right off my cuff, I'm just making these numbers up, but they will give you a question and it will not be in a table form. So the first thing you need to do is what? Put it in a table. And let's see how we do this. Well, there's 18 to 23. 18 to 23. And 24 to what? 29. And then responded and what?
Not responded.
Not responded. And then you put the numbers where you put them. How many responded? 18 to 23? 50.
50.
How many did not respond? 18 to 23? 100. How many responded? 75? Or, I'm sorry, I done got it mixed up.
Oh,
18 to 23 did not respond. Yeah, 100? Yeah, 100.
Yeah.
I got that messed up. Hold on. 24 to 29 responded. 24 to 29. 75. There we go. 75. Sorry about that. And how many, 24 to 29, did not respond? 200. So now what can you get now that you got that set up? You can set up your what? Your denominator. Is this 75? What is that number? Yeah, 100. There. So 200 plus 100 is 300. 75 plus 25, that's 425. So our denominator is what?
425.
425. And the question, I'm just going to give you just one right quick. What is the probability of 18 to 23 or responded? Okay. And you would do 18 to 23, and that would be, and I'm not going to do the calculation, I'm just going to do the, because this is showing you to go from a sentence form to a, 18 to 23 would be this section, and then responded would be, so do we have an overlap? Yes. So that would be, and I'm just going to write it out, that would be 50 plus 100 plus 50 plus 75 minus what? 50 over 425. Okay, now the only reason I showed you this question, I wasn't showing it to you like I did these two, all nice and pretty, okay? The reason I didn't was because I wanted you to see that some questions are going to be in a sentence type form. And you have to change it into a, you don't have to. If you can read the question like this and do it like this and skip this, that's fine. But a lot of people can't do that. So that's what this question is. This is what this example is for. Okay? Now, let me ask you a question. I asked the other classes. I've only done this twice. This is my second time teaching from a hotel room. What's the only thing that gets on your nerves? The lag?
Yeah.
Okay. But is the document cam, is it a good substitute while I'm not there? Besides the lag?
Yeah, it's pretty clear to see. It's just the lag. That's the only problem. Like the yellow, even what you wrote in yellow, we can see very well.
Okay, good. Well, that tells me that it's okay. Good. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Because I just basically went over whatever section is next. What chapter are we in?
11.
7.
7.
7. So I think I just went over 7B, I think. All right, so y'all should be working on 7A and 7B. And then what we'll do Monday is we'll do nothing but questions first. Let me get to where I can see y'all, because I don't like not being able to see y'all. Hold on. Let me pull up my handy. There we go. All right, so if we got any questions as far as 7A or 7B? Basic probability and then probability adding and subtracting. So that's what you're going to be doing on those two sections. Work the problems, send me questions Monday, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
Y'all have a good weekend, and thanks for being cooperative.
And you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
If anybody's got a question, just hang around.
Okay.